Hi, this is my presentation on generating test cases to identify SQL injection vulnerabilities. And a quick background, an SQL injection attack occurs when a malicious user inserts code into a web form that is then run. This happens a lot when there's no sanitation of the input data and it goes straight into an SQL string and gets executed. These are the various types of SQL injection attacks. We'll see a little bit later that these attacks are not necessarily mutually exclusive. For example, multiple attack types may use comment characters. Alright, first we're going to talk about tautologies, and the first line there shows an example of an SQL statement that will be executed. So now if the user were to insert something like the following string, we'd get the last line there. And you can see what happens is that it creates that tautology 1 equal 1. Since that's always true, that query will return everything in that table. And now we're going to talk about incorrect syntax queries. This is when they put characters that can't be parsed into a SQL command and it gets an error message. The intent of this is to obtain information about the database and the fields. The hope is that the developers put up an error message that gives information. Comment characters. So if a user were to insert a comment character, you could bypass some of the conditions of an SQL statement and come up with something that's far less restrictive and could possibly show more data than was intended. Timing attacks. Timing attack is when attacker inserts a sleep command into the web form. Now, what this will do is it causes a delay on the website, and what that tells the attacker is that this website is vulnerable to other types of SQL injection attacks. So it's kind of a early detection to see if more attacks might succeed. Union. This is a little bit similar to the tautology attack. A malicious user can enter in a union and then another query to get more information from another table. Things that they may not are supposed to be able to see. And finally, a piggybacked query. This is when a user enters a statement delimiter and then puts a whole another query at the end. Okay. Now I'm going to demo my tool to generate test cases. Alright, this is the tool that I've created to generate test cases for web forms. Okay, so right up here we're going to enter in a URL for Facebook, and let's see, I'll pull this over here so you can see what's going on. Okay, so what this tool does is when given a URL, it scans that page to find all of the text input fields where we could test for a SQL injection attack. So, alright, we'll go up here. We'll check the type of attack we want to test for, and we'll click Generate. So this is finished generating, and here's test files over here. Okay. See here, The tool detected the field's first name, last name, email confirmation, capture response, anything that plain text could be inserted into, and these are the values that it generated for it. So it generated this just a string of characters followed by the asterisk and then the code to make it a tautology. And you'll see it does 6 of these. It's 1 for each field. It changes the one that it inserts the malicious code into. That way, if you test, otherwise, if it did it all in one file, then you wouldn't know which field was actually vulnerable. See, so there it does it for the last name on that one. Alright, another feature of this tool is that it can actually populate web form for you. So we can go in here and choose one of the test cases to be run. Alright, and we hit run, and it will open up a browser and populate the fields for us. Right there. See, it opened this up and it automatically populated all this in. Now, I've created a testing site where we can actually see what's going on here, because with something like Facebook, I don't have the power to look and see if this is going through or not. So we'll look at this. Alright, this is just a simple web form for a database that I've created here, and what we'll do alright, we'll get rid of these files and we're going to generate all of these. Okay, generate. Right, that's all showed up here. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to try the tautology first. Okay, and run. Opens up. Alright, populates it like we would have expected. And then we're going to hit search. Okay, so you can see here, this is the query that was executed. That's just for this demo. If this was a real, attack scenario, you wouldn't have that. So what we can see here is we searched where field 1 is equal to this nonsense string. And you can see in here that's not anywhere in here. But we inserted this tautology right here, which is always true, so it returned all of the records in the table. So that's an example of a tautology. Alright, now we will look at an incorrect syntax one. Let's see. Alright, you can see it inserted all this junk that won't mean anything. Okay, so this is the error that outputs because of the incorrect syntax, and we could see from that it identifies field 3 and 4. So if you go back here and look, it tells you that the variable names for these two fields are actually field 3 and field 4. And again, that's just to it gives the attacker more information about the structure of the table and the database. Okay. Let's see. Next, we will do a comment. Right. Okay, we can see right here this comment character was added. And so, alright, so from here on, this part of the where clause did not get executed. And it doesn't show you much here because this doesn't match anything, but you can see how that would get around some conditions and maybe divulge more information than was intended. Okay. Alright, now we're going to look at the timing test case. Right, now we're looking at the timing test case. Okay, here we go. You can see it put in this data, and then it inserted this sleep command here. And we're going to hit search. Alright, and already we see that it's taking a lot longer than the previous test cases have. So this page is vulnerable to a timing attack. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop this. We don't need to see it go all the way through. Okay. Now for a union. The union ones are a little bit different. And okay, so here the union attack populated. It's got the string here. Union select from. Now, this one requires some knowledge from the attacker to put into it. There's, from the perspective of you're attacking this website, you're not going to know what this table name is. But let's see. We know it's secret table. And if you'll hit search, let's see. Oh, I forgot to put in the comment character at the end. Alright, so it would give us this right here. It says the select statements have a different number of columns. And from there, then the attacker could go back and guess some of this to divulge more information. I've sped up that process a little bit. I've got one ready to go here. Alright, see here now with this we have divulged all the records in this secret table that we weren't supposed to have access to. Okay. And